When you say that you don't know why people aren't coming out to vote, shouldn't there be some effort from the party to make sure the committee people, the ward people are knocking on doors, finding out, like, or trying to get people to vote?
We do that. We're
But
not,
obviously not effective enough.
there's nothing, we can't get a gun, put a gun to their head, you knock on somebody's door, 9 out of 10. In this day and age, nobody answers. We send out, every ward and all of us send out, we send out door knockers, we send out mailers, we do everything we can. And people just, they just, nobody, no, there's not many people say, oh, I didn't know there was an election. They know there's an election. We try to make it as easy as possible too, with fighting the commissioners all the time when they want to change polling places. They try to make them accessible, handicap accessible, and keep them in the areas where people live. Not, make them go too far. But we do everything possible to make it. We have a hotline that you can call for a ride.
But it's not just an election day, and I think that's what the Working Families Party does do well. I mean, they have a ground game like very early on. They're constantly knocking on doors. I mean, I know from living in Philadelphia, like that's usually who knocks on my door, and I'm, registered as an independent, and they're usually the ones who've knocked three times. That I don't get the Dems knocking on my door. Um, so I guess I'm just curious on your take on that, on
Well,
the ground game, the long ground game.
well, how about blaming them for not having a good turnout either? I mean, not that I want to blame anybody. I'm not sure. I shouldn't have said that. I don't want to blame anybody. But we do what we can, and people just don't want, you can't talk to somebody into voting if they don't want to vote. We make it as convenient as possible. And are there some things we need to do? If you have to knock on more doors, as you're saying, nobody knocked on your door. Yeah, then we have to. But there isn't nobody. I don't know if there's anybody in the city of Philadelphia that didn't know there was an election, whether it be even this election. I mean, what all the money was spent, my God, for a congressional seat. I don't think we ever spent that kind of money. Not in the city, I know. But you talk about mayors, you talk about governors, you talk about presidentials. There is nobody in the city of Philadelphia that doesn't know that there's an election. Now, knocking on doors, what does that do? I mean, if they open it, but I don't, it's just this, I don't know, I don't know what that is. The registrations, I don't know why people don't register. They make it easier when you move, when you get your driver's license. And the driver's license thing, if you don't fill out the blank, they register independent on that. That ain't right. But I don't know what more we could do. We do push as hard as we can to get the vote out, and we do as much as we can, publicizing that there's an election going on.
But I mean, now with the focus turning to 2028, like, are you going to figure this out? Like, what are you guys going to do?
Well, I think to be honest with you, look, we won this past election a lot of seats. We won a lot of judges statewide. We won a lot of commissioners statewide, but a lot of school boards statewide. There's a lot of vote out there anti-Trump. And I think this election, you'll see the same thing happen. There's a lot of people come out to vote against it. They vote out for it. And a lot of people come out to vote against Trump. A lot of, I think that every Democrat that I know, countrywide, citywide, statewide, when they campaigned, Democrats campaigned against Trump. And they were pretty successful. They were successful. I think this presidential election, you get a right candidate, and no disrespect to Kamala Harris, she probably didn't have enough time. Maybe there should have been a primary. Maybe there should have been a convention, but she got thrown into this like with not enough time, and that hurt her too.